Uribasterra. I am a senior BA Performances and Practices theater major at Point Park with a minor in musical theater. I'm originally from Miami, Florida. My family is, I'm Cuban American. All my grandparents came over from Cuba a long time ago, a while ago. It's been really interesting for me because I grew up in Florida. I grew up in Miami where Latinx people are legitimately the majority there. And I grew up in like this, for me, because I was that's just how it works when you're in the majority. It's generally the preferable experience that I grew up in my culture and grew up like around people like me. And it's sort of, it took me moving to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to realize that like my Latinx identity is so much more a part of who it is, who I am, and it's not just my family's history, and it's so much bigger than that. And I think I needed to like move somewhere where I recognize like, oh shit, I sort of am different, and I have things to say and a lot of realizations about myself that have sprung from that I couldn't have known or explored until I moved away. And so I think through that, a big part of my mission as an artist is to be there's a saying in Spanish that like a phrase in Spanish that I use all the time, but it's ni de aquí ni de allá, which means from neither here nor there, and it's used to like sort of encapsulate that experience of somebody from like a family from somewhere else or a person from somewhere else that is here. And as like a second generation Cuban American who has never been to Cuba, it is like not feeling completely Cuban and not feeling completely American, and knowing that in America I'm the Cuban, and if I went to Cuba I would be the American. And that's the experience for almost any other like immigrant or first or second generation Latinx person or people of a lot of descents that I like have gotten to know, especially since being here. And so through my writing I'm able to like sort of therapize myself in that way, and there is a lot of reconciliation to be done, I think, with that identity and wanting so desperately to know where you're from when there are two like opposing forces in it. And so I have a song Sad, which is from the EP that sort of like addresses like Latinx issues under like Trump's America and my like moving here in relation to that, and ICE and all the terrible shit that's happening. And yeah, so a big part of what I want to do is give a voice to, not give a voice, but I want people like myself with similar experiences to me to be seen. And on a separate note, there are also artists like Bad Bunny is great, and I'm not, and I grew up around like in Miami, that is like reggaeton city, like reggaeton like capital of the world, and so like it's all like all the like tiki music stuff, and so that was always like very annoying to me growing up, and now like I kind of like it now, which I think is really funny. But with Bad Bunny specifically, he's one of the only examples I've ever seen of like a Latino man who is actively working to destigmatize gender roles in his song, gender roles in his music, to destigmatize a lot of issues surrounding like masculinity and toxic masculinity and stuff like that. And I think that especially within my community, that can be like in the Latinx community can be very particularly homophobic and transphobic, and there are just a lot of issues there. And I think it's really important that I can be a Latinx person who can write emotional songs and write things that are for everybody to connect with, and I can write quinceañera, that's me saying like, yeah, I feel fucking bad for myself, why can't I have a quinceañera too, or whatever. And as like silly as that sort of like sounds, it is just I want to do a lot of work with helping people in my community and beyond feel seen and wanted and loved as they are and still be able to feel like they're Latinx at the same time. So I took piano lessons from 5 to 12. I think that's how long. And I was not very good the entire time that I was learning. I always felt like I was behind the curve and it was difficult for me to like pick things up quickly. And then I stopped taking lessons and then became interested in songwriting and started writing lyrics and sort of picked up piano again as a tool to like help myself write songs. And since then, in the like 9 years or so since then that I've been starting to write songs, my piano skills have finally begun to like catch up and get where I want them to be. And yeah, I don't think there was a specific reason that I wanted to start songwriting. I think I've always been good with like the written word, and I've always really enjoyed language, and I've always loved music, and it just sort of came together for me. There wasn't like a specific moment that I can pinpoint, but ever since I started writing songs, which was when I was like 12 or 13 or something like that, I haven't stopped. I keep a list. It's kind of a mixed bag because I have a good amount of them that are like incomplete. Normally when I write, I try and write all in one sitting, or at least get the skeleton of a song like both with music and lyrics at the same time, but then I just have some that I don't deem like good enough to finish, or just I didn't get the right inspiration at the right time. And so right now, I think I've written 81 songs. Yeah, I've written 81. I think I've released, up until this point, I think I've released 20 right now. I have one coming out tonight. It's called How Do You Do, and it comes out at midnight, and it's sort of pop rocky. I really love Brittany Howard, who's she was the lead singer of the Alabama Shakes, and now she's like on a solo career type thing. And she's been a gigantic inspiration to me the past like year or two. And so this song was like heavily inspired by her sound. And yeah. Friends on a regular basis. Perhaps I could try them more. I don't stretch very often. Could do that so my body ain't so tight, and so maybe you could try it too. What books and best friends? Brittany Howard is a really big one. So is, I think, my favorite musician of all time is probably Stevie Wonder. I think he's like the Mozart of our century. Like he is that level of genius and really just so incredible in anything that he does. And he's a multi-instrumentalist and can compose a whole orchestra. And yeah, so he's been a huge inspiration for me for a really long time. Billy Joel, Elton John, all the piano men, if you will. Yeah. A little bit of like Ben Folds. I really love Aaron Allen Kane. A lot of like funk and jazz. I've been getting a lot more into like funk and experimental funk that I've been like listening to lately. I love Hiatus Coyote. Yeah, I listen to all sorts of stuff, and I try to like pull inspiration from everywhere, and especially lately and in the albums that I'm working on right now, a big point that I've been trying to make is to do a lot of like genre bending and have like a lot of the songs be completely different from each other in that sense. I mean, the biggest part, like the biggest reason that I do work by myself is because I haven't been presented with many other options and opportunities up until this point. So everything from start to finish, almost everything is done by me. So I will like write the song, and then I go to like the digital workstation and I record everything. The only thing that isn't done by myself is the mixing and mastering of my songs, and I have a friend back home who helps me out with that, that I know from, he's a friend of mine from high school. I mean, the freedom is great. I mean, anything I do is pretty much up to me. I'm not working with a label that wants me to sound a certain way or present myself a certain way or have to fit into a box. I have a hard time seeing myself as like a commercially viable artist, at least in today's like music industry. I just know that the type of music I make isn't what's being listened to as much or very often. And there are like smaller but specific audiences for that. And as far as challenges go, I've been songwriting for a long time, and I've been like playing instruments for a long time, but I am not a music producer. And people go to school to get bachelor's and master's and all these degrees in like music production, or are just naturally gifted at it and know what they're doing in a digital workstation or just in like sound engineering. And I don't know how to, I do my best, but it's very limited. I feel very limited in my knowledge and abilities when it comes to that. So when I compose, I do the best that I can, but I have a hard time making a song sound good quality wise, like audio quality wise, even if I believe it to be well written and like well performed. It's hard for me to like get the technical side of things down. Yeah. That's the thing. It's kind of difficult because I'm working my hardest in a lot of the time in an area that I just don't know a lot about. And so that can be really frustrating sometimes, where I'm just like trying to produce and I have to do a lot of Googling to figure out like how to mix things, or how to like work out levels and stuff, or even just to like set up my mic correctly. Like there are a lot of, every time I record is like a new learning process, especially when I'm working with like new instruments that I want to incorporate. And yeah, I do work digitally. So like how I record, this is my keyboard that I record with. It's a MIDI keyboard. So basically everything runs directly from the keyboard into my computer and records that way. And I use Logic, which is Apple's paid music production service. And so I'm not like sitting here and like playing guitar, playing drums and everything. It's just like everything I do is either through the piano using pre-generated instruments on the workstation, or I am going in like individually and like fixing things. Yeah. I have had a release party for each of my previous big releases. I put out my first album, Quinceañera, I released a little over a year ago. And that I luckily had a lot of people that were able to come and see it, where basically it was a listening party for the album, and then I performed some songs off of it and different things that I've written in covers and stuff like that. And then Pablo in the Tropics, which was the EP I released in February, I also had a similar performance for that. But I haven't really had an opportunity to like be selling tickets for a performance, or have like, I haven't performed in like a venue where people have come to like see me. I do a lot of like busking, where I'll go to Market Square, or I'll go to just like a side of a street and bring my stuff, and I'll like try and not pay for cash. I'll try and like play for cash. I had some stuff lined up pre-COVID that unfortunately fell through, as I know is the case for like everybody else right now. But yeah, so hopefully once all this starts getting going, I'll be in a better position for that. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a big question for any performer, is like, are you going to make it in the first place? Are you going to get that recognition? Right now, I am not really, I'm not in a position to see myself there yet. I'd like to, but I think if I were to be remembered like that, I try and make each song a captured moment. I try and write in very like, not try to, I think naturally I write in a very story-oriented way, like narrative songs. And so when you sit down and you put in your earbuds as the listener, or however you're listening, I want you to be able to connect even and just experience a moment with me and feel what I was feeling in that moment, and it can be a release for the listener. So this is a new song called Doe, like Homer Simpson, Doe. I wrote it about like 3 weeks ago, and I'm hoping to put it on a future project, hopefully this next album or the one following that. Yeah, so here's your little exclusive. "3 a.m. throwing up on the roof in my new Bart Simpson shirt, and I am more fucked up than I've ever been before. Eat my shorts. I've been dead for a while now, dumb, numb in bed. Little more makeup and I'll keep my head for the night. I'll say I'm fine now. Don't have a cow. Springfield, you're not perfect. That's why I love you. Yeah, I can say I feel the same way about myself. Someone else. When I wake up, I'm not somebody new. I'm tired of this damn roller coaster and all these loop-de-loops. I thought that I'd feel better if I took another sip of you, and you can pass out on the floor. Me, I'll take the roof. 3 a.m. I'm throwing up on the roof in my new Bart Simpson shirt, feeling worse than I've ever felt before. Don't come knocking at this power plant door. Whoa. When I'm falling asleep, I'm someone else. When I wake up, I'm not somebody new. Oh, I'm tired of these damn roller coasters with all these loop-de-loops. I thought that I'd feel better if I took another sip of you. You can pass out on the floor. Me, I'll take the roof. 3 a.m. I'm throwing up on the roof in my new Bart Simpson shirt, and I am so much worse than I've ever been before. Eat my shorts. This is another new one. It's called The Rain. And basically, I was really depressed this summer, and this is about me being really depressed this summer, and I wrote it when I was really depressed this summer. Yeah. I don't really do anything anymore. I just sit outside and I wait for the rain. I wait for the rain. I don't even bother to check the weather no more. I can smell it coming from a mile away. The sun go away, the sky go gray. Paint me in your world where water freezes to snow. And the springtime coming down the drain it go. And then the sunshine again, but it don't dry all the pain. I may not feel much anymore, but I can feel the rain. I don't even think about you anymore, no. I think about the rain, I think about the rain, till its drops fill up my brain. I don't even bother to cry no more, 'cause I can't tell tears from rain. Ain't that a crying shame? Paint me in your world where water freezes to snow. When the springtime coming down the drain it goes. Then the sunshine again, but it don't drown my pain. to walk the hardwood floor. I'm tired of patching every leak that you poke, 'cause you know I'm weak, 'cause you know I let it drip just to feel like you were there. What should I care? What's going on inside my head? I can watch the rain and just flood it out instead. Paint me into your world where water freezes to snow. Then the springtime comes and down the drain it goes, and the sunshine again. No, it don't dry none my pain. I may not feel much anymore, but I can feel the rain. I can feel the rain.